Now I have with me two gentlemen, Jim Rashford and Jim Cullen. Jim Rashford is here beside me, one of the Rashford brothers. Jim, I'd like to ask you about the binder, the year of it or the age of it, and the age first, is it old?
Well, the binder was, it's a 1950s binder, late 40s, early 50s. My father bought it in the 60s as his second binder. He had a 5 foot. She was a 6 foot cut, and he took a foot off of her, made her into a 5 foot. Basically because he had spare canvases, but they were easier to handle in a heavier crop of corn than the 6 foot. He made a nicer shape.
And what make is it?
She's an Albion.
An Albion. They were
Scotland.
Scotland?
Yeah.
Oh, it was made over in Scotland. And your father bought that when, in 19...
In the 60s, the mid 60s. As his second one, he already had one, and he bought her as the second one. It was just a lot of work at the time.
And would that have been you pulled by horses originally?
No, she was a power-driven binder, always pulled with a tractor with a PTO.
Oh, she had a PTO,
Yeah.
but the previous to that would have been the horses.
With a wheel, yeah, but they weren't a success in wet ground because they had no way of driving the binder, in other words, because the wheel had to drive them and they were slidden on the wet ground.
So the tractor you're using today then,
that tractor is in the 60s.
60s,
Yeah, it's belonged to Jim Cullen.
Massey 65,
Massey 65, yeah. Nice combination, nice size for the binder.
What I'd like to know now is, and people would like to know, is how much would you cut in a day? You know, if everything went well for you.
In nice cut of wheat, you would cut an acre an hour plus.
An acre an hour?
Plus. In tangly oats, an acre an hour minus.
Right.
And short barley was a nightmare to cut because it was very hard to make a nice sheaf out of it, you know. But wheat was the ideal one. I mean, you could actually cut, one man could cut wheat, you wouldn't want anyone on the binder. Just set her and away you go all day because the crop was nice. The right height, the right density. So it was a dream crop to cut.
Do you still can get the twine, the binder twine?
Yeah, red setter twine, yeah, binder twine.
Oh yeah. And this was all done, and so your father would have used this, and prior to that he would have had, did he have an Albion before that?
He had the other one he had was Albion, yeah.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Was there a reason behind that? Because there was Massey Harris,
Probably.
and there was all different...
No, I'd suppose maybe the local dealer, whoever he was buying off of.
Yeah.
And this one came up, as I said, she was 6 foot, and it wasn't a very hard job to cut her back to 5 foot, you know.
Right. So. And the canvas, are they hard to get now, or...?
No, I think there's a guy in Scotland we're making them, like, but sure, they're going to be harder going forward.
And the lats on them and all that.
Yeah.
Well, they weren't a complicated machine, really. They looked more complicated. It's just the cut to keep the sections sharp, and the twine and the... Yeah, once the knotter worked,
the
sometimes they might...
The very same as the big modern balers of today. There's very little change, like, you know.
Go ahead.
But, no, they look complicated, but they're surely not. They're anything but.
Yeah. Well, thanks very much.
If I could follow you, sure, they have to be simple.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say that. Anyway, thanks very much, and I'll let you off because your Jim is mad to get up on this tractor now, and we'll see you cutting the oats.